Hey, what's up everyone? Hughes from ET Card Collector here. So today is Friday. We've been back from the National about a week. And so I've had time to kind of gather my thoughts and reflect on the show. As I said, it was my first show. It was my first trip to Chicago. Just an amazing experience altogether. So in this video, I'm going to show you the cards I got and also just tell you my thoughts. I know I did some short videos from the hotel room each night of the show, but I just wanted to put all of it together in one because I was not able to show any footage in that one. I showed footage in my last video that you might have seen, but this one's going to be about the cards and about my thoughts. So let's take a look first at the cards I bought. The first couple of cards were given to me by other content creators. This one came from John 3D 80s Kid. Kind of a cool card. Great photo there. The next one came from Eddie's Cardboard Chaos. I love this photo. Griffey was one of the guys that I used to try to emulate when I was growing up because I batted left-handed and played out in the outfield. So I love that one. And then the last one I got is from John Wade Boggs fan. So those are really cool and something I'll hold on to. It's just neat to see other creators put out cards. The next group of cards were the ones that my wife got. They're all Disney related cards. We'll start with the Fairy Godmother there, Topps Chrome. And then Maleficent. And then two Cinderella cards. Cinderella is the Disney character that she collects more than anything, with Maleficent right behind. So I'll just leave those out so you can see them. And then for my card pickups. So this one I got before the show even started on the Tuesday night. A PSA 5 NL Hitting Kings, Willie Mays, Richie Ashburn. There's a back at that one. The next one is a 1973 Topps Roberto Clemente in an SGC 4.5. There's something cool about the last cards of a player, being able to see all the stats of his career that I really like. So that's why I picked that one up. The next two cards are both for my Nolan Ryan PSA set run. I got a 1973 Topps PSA 4. Good look at that one. And the back of it. And then a 1989 Topps Traded Nolan Ryan PSA 8. Right there. It's got 15 on it. That's not what I paid for it. But the guy wrote that on the case, and so it's just there. And the final card I picked up is a PSA DNA autograph card of Sammy Ball. There's a story of why I like Sammy Ball, and I'll share that in a later video. But it was just a cool card to have. Not a Playing Days card, but still, it's a Sammy Ball autograph. A couple of other things I got that are a little bit too big for that camera spot. I did get a upside down Rangers poster. I did get a new Rangers pennant to go on my wall. This design was from the early 80s with the baseball and the cowboy hat on top. It's got a couple of stain spots right there, but it's part of my own collection, so I don't really care. So first off, I want to talk about the attendance. We were there Wednesday for the sneak peek. My wife went with me that night, and then I was at the show pretty much all day Thursday, and those were the only 2 days I attended the show. We got there Wednesday about 4 o'clock. Our Uber arrived and dropped us off, and we had no wait. We had bought our tickets beforehand. So we had no wait in the line. We just went right in, grabbed our bands, and started walking the floor. Thursday was a slightly different story. I got the Uber to drop me off. It was right at 10, and the line to get in was almost back to the Lowe's Hotel. And it took about 20 minutes or so, maybe 25 minutes to finally make it inside to the show floor. An interesting fact, I was talking to the guy in front of me in line. He said he lived in the area and he had attended the National before. He said the line on Thursday really reminded him of a line on Saturday or even Sunday. So that tells you a little bit about the attendance of the show. It was packed. It was a lot of collectors, which is always a good sign. It means the hobby's alive and well and kicking. Was it too packed? I don't think so. I mean, you kind of adjust to it at a show. The only problem as far as attendance I had was upstairs. The aisles were so narrow to get through that you were bumping into people. And I'll talk just a little bit about that later on. I did want to talk a little bit about the meetups. I attended 2 of them. We went to the Misfits meetup Wednesday night at the Lowe's Hotel. And that's where I really got to meet a lot of you guys for the first time. We just sat around and had some drinks and ate a bite. It was a lot of fun and really nice to meet a lot of you guys. Then on Thursday night, we did the YouTube meet and greet. My wife did her own thing on Thursday and then came back to the show right at the end. And we walked over to the Embassy Suites where Mike, baseball collector, and the guys from Rabbit Hole Auctions had put together a meet and greet. It started at the Embassy Suites. We got kicked out of there. And you can check out Mike's video for the reasoning behind that. We went to another spot and then we came back to the National lobby. We got kicked out of there and then we ended up on the grass at the Embassy Suites. They delivered the pizzas. We had bottled water. It was a great time. We did take a big group picture. I'll pop that in right now. But we did have a great time. Again, got to meet a lot of people. I know some of you guys hung back at one of the previous stops and so weren't there, so I didn't get to meet everybody. But it was still a really neat meetup and a really nice chance to meet a lot of people that I see on YouTube almost on a daily basis. Now, as far as pricing and budget and lists, I'll put all that kind of together. Prices I'll start with. I thought it odd that some of the tables were not priced. Modern, I can understand where there's a lot of volatility, but really with vintage, you don't get that volatility and prices are not going to change so dramatically, so quickly. So I just thought it odd that a lot of dealers did not have cards priced. And usually if I saw that, I just stopped for a moment, looked at the cards and went on to another table that had their cards priced. Overall, I thought the prices were not bad for what I was looking for. Now, I was not looking for the high-end thousands and $2,000 cards. I was not looking for the Cracker Jacks and the Goudeys and the Tees and all that. So for the cards I was looking for, I thought the prices were pretty fair for the most part. The ones I thought were a little high that I bought, I did haggle down, negotiate a little bit. And so I was able to make a couple of deals. All in for the cards I showed you, I spent right at $180. And so that's really not bad in my opinion. I would have spent more. I didn't realize I had more. I'd put it in a secret pocket in my backpack and I forgot about it until I got home and was cleaning out my backpack. But that's okay. Now I've got more money to spend in the future. So I did take a list. I did some research before because I didn't know how the internet would be there at the convention center. So I made me a list of cards I was looking for and I did my pricing research in different grades. Just so I would have something to go off of. Out of the 5 cards I bought, 4 of them were on my list of cards to buy. The only one that was not on my list was the Mays Ashburn card. I just kind of bought that on a whim. I thought it was a pretty good deal. And so I'm glad I picked that up. Now, as far as the cards I was looking for, there were plenty. A lot of the dealers had the cards. It was just a matter of finding the right price, the right card for me as far as centering, and that was in my budget. But there were plenty of cards, as I said, that were way out of my budget. There was plenty of rare cards. It was so neat to see a lot of the cards that I had never seen before. Now, all that was positive and stuff I really enjoyed. There were a couple of things that I think can be improved on. I mentioned earlier about the aisles. I only went upstairs one day on Wednesday night to see a friend of mine. He had set up for the first time, and I walked upstairs and I went down the aisle to try to find him, and you were getting knocked into all the time. I mean, just backpacks and bags and shoulders and elbows. I mean, it was real tough to get through there because they were so narrow. I think there was room to make them wider because there seemed to be plenty of room on both sides. I don't know what that space was for, but they could have made them wider and I would have been fine with that. The second thing I had an issue with, and this is not just that show, this is just pretty much every show I go to, was the Pelican cases, the backpacks, the carts that were being pulled. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got knocked into by a cart or people swung around and hit me with their backpack. Again, it's just something that shows you get used to, but it's something that I wish there was a way to fix. I did have a backpack on and I tried to keep it just within my elbow range most of the time. And I'm sure I hit somebody every once and again, but I tried to make sure I was out of the way of people coming. If somebody was coming at me, I would step to the side. Just things like that. And that goes along with it just being so crowded. So that's some of my thoughts on the show. As I said, I did a walk of the show floor in a previous video. And then my next video, I plan on talking about our trip to the Cubs game. On Friday of the show, we went to Wrigley, so a week ago today. Obviously my first trip to Wrigley. I had a real big surprise waiting on me there, and it was just a memorable day. And so in a future video, I'll talk about that. But as far as this video, I just want to say thanks for watching and so long.